The Disappearing Moon, written by
The Disappearing Moon.
Dory H. Butler, illustrated by Roberta Collier Morales. The Scared Squirrel.
The Scared Squirrel.
Squirrel was scared. He could not eat.
He could not eat.
He could not sleep. He could only worry.
He could not sleep. He could only worry.
"What is the matter, Squirrel?" asked Raccoon.
What is the matter, Squirrel? Asked Raccoon.
"Why are you so worried?"
Why are you so worried?
"Haven't you noticed?" asked Squirrel.
Have you noticed, asked Squirrel?
"The moon is disappearing.
The moon is disappearing.
We need to get all the food we can now,
We need to get all the food we can now,
before it is too late."
before it is too late.
Deer and Raccoon looked up at the moon.
Deer and Raccoon looked up at the moon.
"The moon is not disappearing," said
The moon is not disappearing,
Raccoon.
said Raccoon.
"Yes, it is,"
Yes, it is,
said Squirrel.
said
"It
Squirrel.
is smaller than it was last night."
It is smaller than it was last night.
"Just wait.
Just
Tomorrow
wait.
it will be
Tomorrow
even smaller."
It will be even smaller.
The next night, the animals looked at the moon.
The animal looked at the moon.
"Is the moon really getting smaller?"
Is the moon really getting smaller?
asked Deer.
Asked
"I don't
Deer.
know,"
I
said
don't know,
Raccoon.
said Raccoon.
But there was no question a
But there was no question a
few nights later. The moon really was smaller.
The moon really was smaller.
"Squirrel is right," said Raccoon.
Is right, said Raccoon.
"The moon is disappearing."
The moon is disappearing.
"What is this I hear about the moon disappearing?"
What is this I hear about the moon disappearing?
asked Skunk.
Asked Skunk.
"Look!" Squirrel pointed up at the moon.
Look! Squirrel points up at the moon.
Only 3/4 of the moon was left now.
Only 3/4 of the moon was left now.
"It is disappearing,"
This is disappearing,
said Skunk.
said Skunk.
The Wise Old Owl.
The wild owl owl.
A few nights passed,
The few night passed,
and only half of the moon was
and only
left.
half of the moon
The
left.
animals feared the moon would soon disappear.
The animal feared the moon would soon disappear.
After a week, their fears came true.
After a week, the fear came true.
The moon disappeared.
The moon disappeared.
They all ran to Wise Old Owl to
They all ran to wild owl
tell him that the moon had disappeared.
to tell him that the moon has appeared.
"You're all very silly,"
You are very silly,
said Owl.
said Owl.
"Gather around, and I will teach you a lesson about the moon."
Gather around, and I will teach you a lesson about the moon.
There are 2 things you need to know about the moon,
There are 2 things you need to know about the moon,
said Owl.
said
First,
Owl. First,
The moon does not shine on its own.
the moon does not shine on its own.
The sun lights up the moon.
The sun lights
Second,
the moon.
The moon does not sit still in the sky.
Second, the moon does not sit still in the sky.
It moves around Earth.
It moves around Earth.
"Oh, yes," said Owl. "There is one more thing you need to know."
Oh, yes, said Owl. There is one more thing you need to know.
The moon is like a ball.
The moon
The
is
sun
like
can
a
only
ball.
light up one side of the moon.
The moon can only light up one side of the moon.
So when the moon moves around Earth,
So when the moon moves around Earth,
you see only the part of the side that the
you see only the part of the
sun lights
and the
up.
sun light up.
Owl went on to say that sometimes you only see half of the lighted side.
I went on to say that sometimes you only see half of the light side.
This is called a half moon,
This is called a half
said.
moon. He
At
said.
other times, you see all of the lighted side.
At other times, you see all of the light side.
This is called a full moon.
This is
And
called a
sometimes
full
you do
moon.
not see the lighted side at all.
And sometimes you not see the light side at all.
You see the dark side.
You
This
see
is
the
called
dark
the
side.
new moon.
This is called the new moon.
But don't worry, the moon did not disappear,
But don't worry, the moon did not disappear,
said Owl.
says
Soon
Owl.
after a new moon,
Soon after a new moon,
you will see a small part of the lighted side come back.
you will see a small part of the light side come back.
The other animals began to feel better after listening to Owl talk.
The other animal began to feel better after listening to Owl talk.
A few nights after Owl's lesson,
After Owl lesson,
the animals were out playing.
the animals were out playing.
Squirrel looked up and saw a small sliver of the moon.
Squirrel looked up and saw a small sliver of the moon.
Owl was right,
Owl was right.
Squirrel yelled.
Squirrel
The moon
yelled.
is coming back.
The moon is coming back.
The moon grew bigger each night.
The moon grew bigger each night.
Soon there was a full moon again.
Soon there was a full moon again.
The animals had a full moon party.
The animal has a full moon party.